is minimizing ineffective cognitive load, which is a mouthful.
Right.
But
yes. So explain that, please.
so cognitive load, we have working memory in our minds. So it's the list of things that are currently bouncing around our heads. And do you want to wager a guess as to how many things we can keep in our working memory simultaneously?
Maybe 3 or 4.
I mean, that's not far off. Depending on who you're talking about, it might be as high as 7 or 9. If your brain is ready and you don't have anything else on your mind, you might be able to get that high. But when we give kids a list of 13 words to memorize with their definitions, one of the things that happens is we overload their working memory. Like we can't learn that many new things at once. So one simple strategy is to work with your limits there and make sure that you're providing, this is a chunk of information. Let's work on this chunk, master that before moving on to, the next set of 5 words or whatever the discipline might be. So cognitive load, the load is how much of that, 5 to 9 open spaces in your working memory, how much of that is in use? So you might have some free space in your mind, or it might be loaded. Now, there's 2 kinds of load. There's effective load and there's ineffective load. So the effective load is what I'm supposed to be thinking about, right? This is what I want to be working on. The ineffective load is all of the other things that are just taking up space.
Right. It's like having those multiple browsers open that you shouldn't have open on your computer.
Yes, and like 3 of them are playing music and one of them has a weird smell coming from it, and and sparks are flying out of another one. But they're distractions is really what it boils down to. And for our kids, they have a bazillion things on their mind all the time, and they're not even able to articulate a lot of them. But part of that ineffective load might be, it might be physical. Maybe they're hungry or thirsty or need to go to the bathroom, or their shirt is too itchy. Like that takes up space in their working memory.
It does, and that's why so many parents find that those bouncy balls they sit on versus an uncomfortable chair, it really helps with memory and thinking.
Yeah.
So
or buying those seamless socks and
Yes, exactly. Or not wearing socks at all, because you can do that at school.
Yeah. cutting those scratchy tags off, that's a real thing. Some people look at us like we're nuts for needing to have our clothes feel a certain way, but it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes, so physical sensations might be ineffective load, and you can minimize them using those kind of strategies, or get a snack first, or what have you. Some of them might be emotional. If you had, if your kid had an argument with their best friend or with you, that's on their minds while you're trying to teach them math lessons.
Right.
So what I say is, if you're doing a biology lesson on elephants, you need to herd the elephants in the room.
Oh, so true. Yes.
Before you get to the elephants on the page. So, maybe that means for the first 5 minutes of your lesson, you just sit and listen to them talk about what's on their mind and pray with them.
That's a very good idea. Yeah.
I mean, it's such a simple thing, but, as homeschoolers, we have the liberty to do that. It's not like anybody's looking at our lesson plans and saying, oh, you didn't spend all 50 minutes of this period working on the right thing.
Right, exactly.
If someone's looking that closely, then that's their problem. It's okay to spend the first 10 minutes of class getting them, the term is learning ready. And that's such an important concept, because if they've got a bazillion things on their mind and they're hungry and they had an argument with their best friend and they're worried about this other thing going on at home or in their sports team or what have you, they're not ready to learn. So you got to deal with that.